I was so terrified of that very first inspection, knowing that, gosh, the state is coming into my kitchen and they're gonna scrutinize, and I'm so terrified to do something wrong. But I found that it's a really good experience.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers, the podcast dedicated to providing insights into business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with the Lead Edge Consulting Group. And today, my guest is Lena Wilson. She's the founder and CEO of Uncle Crunch. Lena, welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Me as well. Me as well. I know just for the audience, we had a little bit of difficulties in our last podcast, so we're doing it again. This should be great. To get started, can you tell the audience a little bit about Uncle Crunch?
Yeah, sure. So I started Uncle Crunch just about 2 years. We're coming up on our 2 year anniversary. Uncle Crunch is a premier freeze-dried treat business. So we started just about 2 years ago, specializing in freeze-dried candy. And now we've kind of evolved to pickles and getting into fruits and other things like that.
It's awesome. And I guess give the audience a little bit. Where did you come from? Like, what was your background?
So my background is kind of all over the place. I have a degree in child life specialist from the University of Akron. So did a little bit of that, working with children in a hospital setting, helping them normalize it, doing some education and play. It was a lot of fun, and moved into early intervention, working with kids at home that had disabilities, connecting them to resources in the community. Then COVID happened, and just like everybody else on the planet, our world kind of flipped, and I became a stay-at-home mom, helping homeschool my kids. And then I jumped back into the workforce after everything was kind of good, working in accounting software. After that kind of came to an end, I was a single mom at that point. We had just moved into my brand new home, and 2 weeks later, I found myself laid off from that job. And I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, wondering, I've always tried to, like, what business could I start? What could I do on the side? Always wanted to start a business. And when that happened to me, that was the opportunity and the doors open that I kind of needed to give me that push. So then I started, did a ton of research. How do you start a business? Quickly started networking and got the ball rolling.
And I think that's the way it happens for a lot of us. We get forced out of a job in the corporate world, and we have two decisions. One, try to find another corporate job, or let's go out on our own. So
Yeah,
that's a lot like my decision multiple years
right.
ago. But so what inspired you to start Uncle Crunch? Like, where did that come from?
So through COVID, people started freeze drying candy at home just for something fun to do. And I was on the other end of that, watching how awesome, how exciting. My kids and I are candy fanatics. And so watching this like really cool thing happen with candy was just like so intriguing. And because I was a single mom, I was like, you know what? I'm going to convert my garage. I'm going to get a freeze dryer and just start and see where this goes. I quickly found that there are a lot of regulations and things with the state of Ohio that you can't, it's not a cottage food law. You have to have a commercial kitchen and all that stuff. But just watching it on social media and being very intrigued, jumped right into the science of freeze drying, and where else could I take it?
Yeah. And you said that you're doing, I mean, you started off with the freeze-dried candy, but it's evolved a little bit. So what are
Yeah.
the other products again that you have?
Yeah, so we're currently in almost 200 stores in our region, also out of the state of Ohio with our candy, and constantly growing and adding more stores. So that's very exciting. We also do freeze-dried pickles, and that's kind of a regular on our website. And when we go to vendor events or markets, I would really like to bring those to retail as soon as we are able to produce more. We have done fruits, so I'd really like to bring those to market too. We do them just for friends and family for right now. And then I'm launching a new product line of pet treats. So we are working on getting that launch prepared. It is a freeze-dried raw single ingredient treat for pets. And that single ingredient is just beef or just chicken or just minnows, um, which is really neat for pet parents if they're looking for something a little bit more healthy, easier to digest, allergy relief. There's a lot of pet parents that I've talked to that, can't feed their pet this or that because they're trying to avoid a specific ingredient. And I named the product after my own pet. His name is Clark. And he loves his freeze-dried salmon on top of his meal before he will eat it. So he got a little spoiled.
Well, we'll have to talk a little bit more about that later.
Yeah.
We have a small little 8 pound Yorkie poo that
Oh,
seems to have a very sensitive stomach, so that might be something that would help him out.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
or at least it wouldn't bother him. So
right.
what have been some of the biggest challenges over the last couple of years as you're growing Uncle Crutch?
Uh, there's been a couple. First of all, never being an entrepreneur or a business owner, I've, just woke up one day and I'm like, I'm going to be a CEO. So constantly learning it. That's been exciting and challenging, but learning how to run a business, how to continue to be successful and grow a sustainable business. That's going to be forever, throughout this process, I think. But another one, being a new business owner with a small business is really struggling or maintaining that cash flow. Because we grew so quickly or continue to grow so quickly in a shorter period of time, we have a lot of expenses. And I built this business from the ground up. I had mentioned, needing a commercial kitchen. So renting space, having equipment, making sure our facility is state approved and FDA approved. Um, but maintaining, that constant cash flow, being able to grow a little bit, be able to, put a little bit more out. But yeah, it's probably been one of the hardest challenges, I'd say.
Yeah, I would think so. So is there anything, when you look back at the last 2 years, is there anything you would have done differently as you were growing the company? Kind of that hindsight 2020?
Yeah. Um, Gosh, I don't know. I've always been very methodical about um my choices as a business owner, trying to be very careful, relying on a lot of business mentors to make sure I am gathering all of the information I need to be able to make that decision. Um, I don't know that I've had any big regrets. Everything's just been a learning opportunity to move forward. But I don't think that there's anything been so detrimental or critical that I would have been like, oh, I wish I would have known and
Yeah.
not did that. Of course, as a new business owner, there's always those little things that's like, that didn't feel so great, or, I could have handled that better, but nothing really that I would have changed, I think.
That's good. That's good. I think having mentors and individuals like that around you as you're growing certainly helps alleviate some of those, for sure.
Extremely helpful. I mean, when I'm talking to people that are thinking about going into business or just starting their business, that is my first piece of advice for them is find mentors. Network, network, network. Learn to network.
Yeah.
And have a lot of those other business owners around you to help you grow and
Yeah.
support you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's critical. Even myself, I have had a mentor for the last 17 plus years,
Yeah.
and they've helped tremendously. So what's the biggest motivator for you that, helps you continue to push the growth of your business?
I think that initial dream, and starting off in a place that was really, really difficult for me, and knowing that, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be successful because my kids are watching. And I wanted them to see that it doesn't matter what's happening externally, what's happening in your environment, in the world, as long as you are dedicated and you work really hard, anything could happen for you. Anything can be possible. So that is one of the biggest things, is knowing that my children are watching me grow this from the bottom, from the ground up. And I want to build something successful for them, something that I can pass on and have a legacy for them as they're older. And I'm so grateful for all the lessons that they're learning, even things that I didn't think, would be possible or that they'd be paying attention, but they really are.
Yeah, I think, kids pay attention to a lot. I think, they'll mimic you and me and, everybody else later in life. So when they see you working super hard, starting a business, dealing with stress and still taking care of the family and, going to sporting events and all this stuff and still growing it,
Yeah,
that's going to make them comfortable doing those same things when they get into the workforce. At least that's what I
exactly.
believe.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so besides your mentors and maybe your children, I mean, do you have additional support teams that are out there to help keep you on track and go in the right direction?
Yeah, so I had mentioned networking, so I'm a part of some groups and organizations, specifically Wonder Woman of Food. It's a all women based owned or led business that produces a food here in Northeast Ohio. So that has been a great resource. Just other women owned businesses, we kind of come together, do events together, and you can ask questions and um, just kind of have that partnership. Joining the chamber right from the beginning really helped, kind of have that surrounding me. We are still a family run business, so my grandma comes to work as often as she can. So having her here is really a lot of fun. And it's really great to kind of show her. Even yesterday, we were sitting in the lunchroom and she was like, gosh, look at all this stuff. Like, look at what you did. She's like, I'm so surprised. I'm like, what does that mean, surprise, But yeah, but definitely having my family around is fantastic.
Yeah, when they're on sorry, I can't even talk. When they're on your side, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
You realize what's
Yes.
going on. So for other people that might be thinking about starting a food-based business
Mhm.
from scratch, like you did, what are the most challenging parts of this industry or your industry?
I think there's a lot of regulations to learn and to know, and they're constantly changing and evolving. I think the most important is making sure that you are producing a product that is safe for the general public to consume. Knowing your labeling, making sure that you have guidance, you're asking all of the questions, just to make sure that you're producing a safe product for the consumer.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think the regulations and dealing with the government and that, or the FDA and that would be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
So,
And I was so terrified of that very first inspection, knowing that, gosh, the state is coming into my kitchen and they're gonna scrutinize, and I'm so terrified to do something wrong. But I found that it's a really good experience, and my inspector has been a great resource for me to just text really quick or email. And so the other thing I would say is it's not scary, as big as it kind of
yeah,
feels and how important and heavy it is. It's definitely not as scary as it would seem because the resources that are available, the state has been a really great partner, kind of helping and helping guide me. So not
that's good to
scary.
hear. Right,
Yeah,
that's good. That's good to hear.
right.
So, so I'll go back. You're a single mom. How many children do you have?
I have three.
You have three. So single
Yeah.
mom, three children, starting a business out of your garage. How do you find work-life balance or integration of some sort? Or is
Work-life balance. What is
or
that?
is it even exactly, or is it even possible right now?
So, I make it a priority. And you have to. So the other thing too, a big misconception of mine was, I'm going to start a business. I thought I was going to do it in my garage, but that never happened. But I thought I will be able to have more time, right? I'm a single mom. I need that flexibility. And I want to have more time with my kids. I probably work more now than I ever have in my entire life. Like there is hardly a day off. But that flexibility piece is there. And that's what was really important to me, that I'm able to be at home with my daughter before she gets on the bus. And I'm able to get home when she gets off the bus, or I'm able to take a sick day with them or go to practices and games and things like that. So that has been great. And there are some late days where, the kids come to the office and they hang out or help out wherever they can. But the most important part is that we're doing it together. So there are some times I've got here in my office, I've got fishing poles because there's a pond nearby. So when my son needs to take a break, he's out at the pond fishing, and I think it's great. We're all still able to kind of be together and hang out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome. So is your goal in the future sometime to pass this business on to the children?
Yes, I'm open, being a new business owner and taking the accelerators and talking to other business owners, thinking about that exit strategy, or, what happens next when I'm not here, or just whatever is the next move. So I would like to build a legacy for my children, whether that means they take on the business, or, take a big cut of that when I step away. Maybe that means I sell the business and, they're able to start something else.
Yeah,
Um, I'm open to what that looks like or what that means, and they will definitely be a part of that conversation when that time comes.
yeah, right. So where do you see the business in the next 12 to 36 months?
Oh my goodness. That's such a hard question because there is no sky, there's no ceiling, there's no limit.
Right.
And I really remember this one mentoring session I had with my mentor, and I was only in business for about 6 to 8 months or so. And he's been with me from the before I even had a commercial kitchen, we started meeting. So he's been with me from the very beginning. And I was about 6 to 8 months in business, and he just took a moment and said, "Look at what you've done, and can you even imagine what the next 12 months looks like? Or can you even imagine where you'll be in the next 12 months?" And that really caught me, and made me emotional, because in that moment I was really proud, first to be recognized, and then to take a moment and pause and say, I have made so many great strides in this short amount of time, and I can't even imagine what the next 12 months holds or what that looks like for
Yeah.
me. Um, I know that, I'm very excited to launch this new product line, and I know that it's going to be a great addition to the Uncle Crunch family brands. I hope by then to be able to launch my fruits, to have a healthier snack option. Of course, continue to grow. I would love Uncle Crunch and Clark's Crunch to become a nationally recognized brand. Cleveland and Northeast Ohio has so many amazing things, so many amazing businesses and food products, and just in general things that come out of our area here. And I would just love to be another, oh yeah, Uncle Crunch is from Cleveland,
Yeah.
to place us on a map. I'm really proud to be from here. So
Yeah, it'll be awesome to watch you grow over the years. So,
thank you.
how did you come up with the name Uncle Crunch? Where'd that come from?
Gosh, if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that. um,
You wouldn't have to work, right?
right, yeah, right. I wouldn't be worrying about those cash flow issues so much.
Yeah.
Um, I did a lot of research when I started my business, and I knew that branding and the name was going to be very important to getting my brand recognized. In that research, I knew that competitors were doing kind of the space theme or the Arctic frozen theme, and those felt very, I didn't feel like I'd be able to grow a brand with those different themes. And I wanted something that would stand out, that would be fun and inviting. I knew in my research that I was going to use the word crunch, but it was pairing the right word. What was fun to say? What stood out? What was kind of different? And gosh, for weeks, we were just going back, like just saying different words with crunch. And one day, Uncle Crunch came out, and I'm like, that's it, like done, like that's it. We get to have a fun mascot, and from this uh, fun mascot, I can see plush toys and pet toys and, children's books about the story of Uncle Crunch and fun adventures and his friends he meets along the way that kind of fit into these other
Yeah,
um, product lines or brands that I want to build. Um, I'm so proud of it. It is so very exciting, and I love that it's like not what you would expect from a woman-owned business. Um, yeah, so I'm super proud of it.
that's great. So, final couple questions. What's the best business advice anybody's ever given you along the way?
Somebody told me from very early on, number one, I had somebody tell me about my business mentor and said, contact this person, and that he's been so helpful, just to be a sounding board. So contacting that person, somebody early on told me to learn how to network and network a lot. And that's something I'm very passionate about and spoke several times already today about. And that has been instrumental, making sure you're getting yourself with like-minded or, open-minded people to really grow your business. Yeah, I think networking and having business mentors is probably the biggest and most helpful tips that I've gotten very early on.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for a lot of people. So, final question. Let's say you run into somebody, you're networking, and you run into someone that's a couple years into business, and they're struggling and they're stressed and things aren't going at all like they had thought. What type of advice would you give that individual?
Keep going. Um, I have those days myself that I'm thinking, what I'm a single mom. What am I doing? But I know that there is something greater that I'm working towards. And so other people that are kind of feeling the same way, I would tell them just keep going. And days that I feel that are very difficult or taxing, I always tell myself, did you do something today to grow your business in any way? And if I'm able to answer yes to that question, then I know I've done a good job for that day. Maybe it wasn't my best day, but I've done a good job. And that to grow your business could have been an email or a contact or a networking event or production. It could be as small or as big as you want it to be, but that's kind of what I remind myself. If I'm growing my business every day, then I'm on the right path.
Yeah, that's very good advice. So, if anybody wants to get a hold of you or learn more about Uncle Crunch, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I would love that. So you can go to unclecrunch.com and fill out our contact form. That comes right to my inbox. So I'd welcome anybody. You could also follow us on any of our social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You just search Uncle Crunch and it'll be me on the other line.
All right, that's great. Listen, I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to spend it with me and the audience. For everybody out there that's listening, thank you for attending as well. And Lena, have a great week. And like I said, I look forward to seeing your company continue to grow.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime. All right, take care, and everybody will catch you on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.